doing work or mass transfer. So kung wala tayong iibo doon, it will stay equilibrium. So meron tayong three types when it comes to your equilibrium. So the first one is mechanical equilibrium. So no net force, imbalance, all the forces are balanced, so nothing moves. So that means if yung ating forces is acting to your downward, merong nagko-contradict to its force. So meaning, all of our forces is equals to zero when it comes to your mechanical equilibrium. Ano naman po yung thermal equilibrium? So, no, so it is uniform temperature, so no heat flows between yung ating parts of the system or between the system and the surrounding. No heat flows, that means no heat transfer. Since both of your system and your surrounding has the same temperature. Next one is chemical equilibrium. So, no net chemical reactions or diffusion. That means yung ating concentration of substances remain constant. Example natin is when we mix two chemicals, once na natapos na yung kanyang chemical reaction, it is in chemical equilibrium, meaning hindi siya magbabago unless may gumalaw sa kanya or may madagdag sa kanyang chemical. So, when we say thermodynamic equilibrium, dapat all of our three types ng equilibrium stays in equilibrium. That means yung ating mechanical is in equilibrium, our thermal is in equilibrium, and also our chemical is at equilibrium. Next one is process and cycles. So, in thermodynamics, yung process natin is any transformation that takes yung system from one state to another. While your cycle is if we have different state, once na bumalik yung ating state to its original state, that is what we call cycle. So, at states here, yung process natin is the transformation of a system from one equilibrium to another. So, for example, if you slowly heat yung ating gas at a constant pressure, so yung ating state is magbabago from one state to another kasi umaangat yung ating temperature. So, our temperature changes. So, from state point 1 to state point 2, meron tayong process na ginawa which is adding heat it at a constant pressure. So, it is also defined by initial and final states, the specific route connecting them, and heat work mass exchanges with your surroundings. So, for this example, we have your state point 1. In this case, is defined by your volume. Once na nag-change yung kanyang volume, nag-compress yung kanyang volume, so from one state to another, nagkaroon siya ng process which is compression. Kaya nagbago yung ating state. So if our state change or from initial, nagkaroon tayo ng final state, we have a process. Okay po? So the path na tinake niya, the exact way you get there, such as your constant pressure, constant volume na mga process, yun yung ating path. Ano naman yung ating path dependence? So, path dependence of heat and work. So, heat and work vary with the chosen path even between the same endpoints. So, they depend on how yung process natin carried out. So, even if the start and ends ng ating state are the same, taking different paths between your Q and A or Q and work changes. So, on a PV diagram, your quasi-static, which means yung slow process natin for work is formulated as work is the integral of your pressure dV. So when we say integral, we are finding the area under the curve visualizes the work for polytropic, isothermal, or arbitrary paths. So let's differentiate yung ating dalawang function, which is yung state function natin and path function. When we say state function, like your internal energy, enthalpy, and entropy, so it depends only on the state of the system. So if we have yung state natin, meron tayong sarili-sariling internal energy, enthalpy. So they are fully determined by the current values of the equilibrium properties. While your path function, which is yung ating heat and work, depend on the particular process path between yung ating states. You must, syempre, you must know the path to determine yung ating heat and then yung ating work. So, now, let's discuss naman about our steady flow process. So, what is steady flow process? So, this is when the fluid enters and leaves a control volume continuously and at any fixed location in the system. So, the fluid properties remains constant over time. So, in other words, yung condition at a point in your system do not change even though your fluid is moving through it steadily. So, ano example natin of your steady flow devices or steady flow process? Those are your turbines, compressors, nozzles, and or heat exchanger. So, for instance, example natin is when a steam is flowing through your turbine, so the pressure and temperature stays essentially the same over time even though nagpo-flow yung ating steam sa ating turbine. So we often apply the steady flow energy equation on these devices or on this system. So this image is an example of your steady flow process. So imagine meron tayong napasok dito and nag-out na mass. So for our example kanina, that is your steam. So even naglagay tayo dito ng steady flow ng steam, so kahit siya ay matagal na nating nagfo-flow, they have the same So even, ano nga po, nasa na tayo? Na-interrupt kasi ako. So, even nagpo-flow siya, over time, they have the same property, which is in this case is your temperature. So, continue natin. So, continue natin about our thermodynamic cycle. So, it is a series of processes returning the system to its original state. So, example, so this is our PV diagram. So, for example, we have this state point number 1. And then, nagkaroon tayo ng heat addition process. So, tumaas siya. So, this is 2. Then, nagkaroon tayo ng constant volume process. So, this is state point number 3. Then, dumaan siya sa turbine. And then, bumalik siya sa ating first state. As said to your statement here, a series of processes returning to its original state. So, once na bumalik yung ating system to our first state, that is a cycle. So, yung ating network over one cycle and is equals to the area enclosed on the PV diagram. So, as stated, yung area enclosed by your cycle is what we call your network output. So, your thermal efficiency of a cycle is defined as the network output over your heat input. So it tells us the fraction of your heat energy converting to your work, guiding designs of engines, refrigerators, and heat pumps. So let's talk about naman your temperature and zeroth law. So why is it important to know your temperature and your zeroth law or your thermal equilibrium? So temperature is a fundamental property that quantifies the average kinetic energy of particles in a substance. So the temperature indicates yung how hot or how cold a system is. So cold is the absence of temperature. So it also determines the direction of your heat transfer. As we all know, yung ating heat transfer flows from higher temperature to your lower temperature. So for example, is nag-iwan tayo ng ice sa ating table. We know that our surrounding is warmer than your ice. So the heat from the surrounding flows through your ice, making your ice melts. And then we have here your temperature enters many thermodynamic formulas. So like your ideal gas law. And then we have your definition ng ating entropy and phase change. So as I was saying kanina, from your eyes, nagpo-flow through yung ating heat from your surroundings, makes it melt or from the solid state, nagiging liquid state siya. If we add heat pa sa ating liquid state, which is yung ating water, pag hinit pa natin siya, ano mangyayari sa ating water? It boils and become steam. So your temperature is crucial when it comes to your phase change criteria. Next one is our zeroth law. So what is zeroth law? As you can see, if your system A or your object here, A, is equilibrium with your system C, and then your system B is thermal equilibrium with your system C, then we can conclude that your system A and system B is in thermal equilibrium also. So that is your zeroth law. So your zeroth law concept of thermodynamics. So if a system A is in thermal equilibrium with system C and B is also in equilibrium with C, then A and B are in equilibrium with each other. Establishes a transitive relationship for your thermal equilibrium. So, bakit ito importante? So, we can compare temperature in practice. For example, if we have a thermometer, if a thermometer reads the same when placed contact with your object A and then object B, then A and B is at same temperature. So this in this case, even they never touch or hindi sila nagdikit with each other, this is the foundation for using yung ating third party. So meaning we can yung magta-trust tayo with our thermometer that yung reading natin is correct. So, mostly, nang ginagamit natin when it comes to your temperature, yung unit na ginagamit natin is degree Celsius. And then, for the US application naman, it is Fahrenheit. So, how about on your thermodynamic calculation or in your problem? We must know that we need a absolute scale for both of them. Since when we are calculating, ang dapat nating inilalagay when it comes to your thermodynamic is in absolute scale. So, ano ang absolute scale ni Celsius? That is your Kelvin. Ano naman ang absolute scale ni Fahrenheit? That is your degree Rankine. So, how do we convert those units? So, from Celsius to Kelvin, so from Celsius to Kelvin, we will add 273 to your degree Celsius to convert it into Kelvin. And then from Fahrenheit to Rankine, you need to add 460 to your degree Fahrenheit to become your Rankine. So this one from Celsius or SI to your Fahrenheit, which is English, so this is 1.8 times to your degree Celsius plus 32 is your degree Fahrenheit. So what is pressure naman? So let's discuss yung pressure. So pressure is a measure of force per unit area. So your pressure quantifies the normal force exerted by a fluid per unit area. So we can say that it is P is equals to the force exerted over your area or per unit area. So it governs daw po fluid static flow behavior and is central to all thermodynamic analysis involving fluids. Wait lang po. So, yung pressure po natin is crucial when it comes to fluid. So, it determines yung ating kung how your fluid push against the container and how they flow. That is your fluid statics and your fluid flow behavior. So, pressure acts equally in all direction. That is what we call your isotropic. So, it also, yung ating pressure also increases in depth. So, for example, nag-dive tayo sa ating dagat. So, pag nasa mababaw pa tayo, hindi natin ramdam yung pressure difference when it comes to the land and to your water. Pero as we go deeper to the ocean, what will happen? Ano yung nangyayari sa atin? Nararamdaman natin yung pressure of the water through our ears. Nararamdaman natin yung pressure, yung para tayong mabibingi when we are diving through the depth of the ocean. Because yung weight above us is pushing through our ears, and that is your pressure. So next one natin is yung pressure natin is force distributed over area. So in a static fluid, pressure is isotropic. That means your pressure is just the same in all direction. Yung as I have said kanina, your hydrostatic pressure from a liquid column. This means as we go deeper, which is yung height natin, mas nag increase din yung ating, what do you call this? Yung ating pressure as we go deeper. That is our height. Next one is yung ating common units and conversion for our pressure. So for SI unit, that is pascals. We can also use kilopascals and megapascals if masyado lang malaki yung pinag-uusapan nating pressure. And ano pa yung ginagamit natin? We have bar, PSI, atmosphere, kilogram per square centimeter, millimeter mercury, and inches in mercury. So these are the conversion when it comes to your pressure. So sa uluhin ate. So bukas, kung matutuloy yung aming pagpunta sa nagbo-boards, is papagawan ko na lang kayo ng activity. And your PSET. Para next week is chapter 2 tayo. So, next one natin is your absolute pressure. So, absolute pressure is measured relative to your vacuum or zero at absolute zero pressure. So, ano naman yung ating gauge pressure? So, your gauge pressure is measured relative to your atmospheric pressure. So, by this definition, we have your formula here for gauge pressure, which is it is equals to your absolute pressure minus your atmospheric pressure. So, next one natin is your vacuum pressure. So, vacuum pressure, sometimes given yung ating when pressure is below atmospheric pressure. So, that means with that definition, we have your vacuum pressure is equals to your atmospheric pressure because it is below your atmospheric minus your absolute pressure. Take note that you need to convert or always convert your gauge and vacuum pressure readings to absolute pressure before thermodynamic calculation. Why? Kasi yung most of our formulas or yung mga thermodynamic formulas natin requires absolute pressure. So for your sample, your absolute pressure of a vacuum chamber. So a vacuum connected to a chamber reads 5.8 at a location where atmospheric pressure is 14.5 psi. Determine daw po the absolute pressure in the chamber. So ano yung mga given natin dito? We have here your vacuum gauge, which is, so sulat natin. Given natin is vacuum gauge, which is 5.8 psi. And then, we have your atmospheric pressure daw po na 14.5 psi. So, determine the absolute pressure. So, your vacuum pressure is equals to atmospheric pressure minus your absolute pressure. So, your absolute pressure is equals to atmospheric pressure minus your vacuum pressure. So, substituting your formula, your given, rather, to your formula, that is, so that is 14.5 psi, wala na yung boses ko, minus 5.8 psi. So, next, what is your absolute pressure? So, what is 14.5 minus 5.8? That is 8.7 psi. Next one natin is your pressure measurement devices. So what are those pressure measurement devices? So we have here your barometer, which measures yung ating atmospheric pressure using a liquid column. In this case, it is invented by Torricelli in 1643. So, a barometer is a column, liquid column. So, ang ginamit ni Torricelli is mercury. So, it balances atmospheric pressure against the weight of the mercury. So, kanina, ano yung formula for our hydrostatic pressure? That is P is equals to your density times gravity times height. For this case, siya ay density of mercury. Since the liquid was used is mercury times your gravity and then yung height ng ating mercury sa ating liquid column. So, let's have an example for your manometer problem. So, determine daw po the atmospheric pressure at a location where your barometric reading is 740 millimeter in mercury. And the gravitational acceleration is G is equals to 9.05 meter per second squared. And then assume the temperature of mercury to be 10 degrees Celsius. So, which its density is 13,570 kilogram per cubic meter. So, for this problem, ano yung mga given natin? So, given is your density of your fluid, which is in mercury. So, this is 13,570 kilogram per cubic meter. So, lumipat po ako ng pwesto kasi nandun ang Sir Emil. Hindi niyo ako maririnig. So, next natin, ano nga tayo? Malakas ang boses ng Sir Emil. So, next one natin is yung height ng ating reading, which is yung h is equals to 740 millimeter, or your h is equals to 0.74 meter. And then yung ating gravity is equals to, meron tayong given na gravity dito. So, hindi natin gagamitin si 9.81. So, in this case, that is 9.805 meter per second squared. So, yung solution natin for this one, we have here your atmospheric pressure is equals to the density of your fluid, which is mercury, times gravity times your height na ating reading. So we have 13,570 kilogram per cubic meter times your gravity, which is 9.805 meter per second squared, times your height, which is 0.74 meter. So, in this case, we can cancel yung ating meter dito. So, this is squared na lang. So, ano yung mga unit na matitira natin? We have your kilogram times your meter over square meter times your second squared. And then, your kilogram meter per second squared is equals to your Newton. So, in this case, so this is Newton. So, this is Newton per square meter, which is Pascal. So, ano po ang ating atmospheric pressure? Yes po. Sawali.
98,459.849.
So, that is 98,459.849 Pascal. Or, your atmospheric pressure is equals to 98.459849 kilopascal. The next natin is another pressure measurement device, which is manometer. So, a manometer is a U-shaped tube used for pressure difference. So, one common setup nito is your one arm has a liquid or connected to your liquid. So, it is connected to a system. In this case, we have here your gas tank. And then, yung another end is open to your atmosphere. So, the fluid, it's either mercury, water, or oil in the U-shaped tube will settle so that the pressure at the bottom of both arms, so your pressure on our first arm, so your pressure here on this side, and then your pressure here is equals po. So the pressure, so yung hydrostatic relation natin in one leg, so we have here your P is equals to P0 plus your density times gravity times your height. So we must use daw po high density fluid. So it can be mercury for large difference po ng ating pressure to keep your tube dimension practical. Since pag yung density natin is mababa, yung pressure difference nga or yung kanyang magiging reading dito, yung kanyang L is masyadong malaki. So, hindi na siya economically pwede or hindi na siya possible magawa yung ating manometer. So, we have here your sample problem na hindi nabura yung kaputol. So, we have here your sample problem which is for manometer. So, your U shape daw po. So, consider a U tube whose arm are open to the atmosphere. So now water is poured into the U tube for one arm and light oil, where your density is 5,790 kilogram per cubic meter from the other arm. So one arm contains 70 centimeter high water, while the other arm contains both fluids with an oil to water height ratio of 4. So determine daw the height of each fluid in that arm. So ano yung given natin? List muna natin yung lahat ng given natin from this problem. So we have here your given, which is yung density ng ating oil is 5,790 kilogram per cubic meter. And then, yung density ng ating water, which is hindi siya given, pero dapat alam natin yung kanyang constant, which is 1,000 kilogram per cubic meter. Ano pa yung given natin dito? Yung height ng ating water from this arm. So that is 70 meter. 70 centimeter. So yung height ng ating water on the first arm, which is 70 centimeter or 0.7 meter. So, meron pa tayong given dito, your oil to water height ratio. So, oil to water height ratio is equals to 4. Ano pa? Wala na tayong nakalimutan na given. So, let's start with our solution. So, as your definition when it comes to your manometer, yung pressure at the one arm is equals to the pressure to the other arm. So, we have here your P arm 1 is equals to your pressure arm 2. So, the density, ano yung formula natin for hydrostatic, which is yung density of our liquid times the gravity times your height. For in this case, sa first arm natin, ang ginamit nating liquid is water. So, we will be using here your water. And then this one is your height of your water on your first arm. And then equals, since yung arm natin dito has two liquids, so we will be adding yung pressure natin dito sa baba. Yan. So we will be adding yung pressure natin ng ating water to your pressure ng ating oil since they are in the same arm. So that is the density of your water times gravity times your height of your liquid at the arm 2 plus the density of your oil times gravity times height ng ating oil. Then, pwede na nating i-cancel si gravity. Bakit? Kasi they are in both equation. So, ilabas natin si gravity para makancel natin from both of our equation. So, cancel both of our gravity. So, we don't need na yung ating gravity. Then, ano yung density of our water? That is 1,000 kilogram per cubic meter times yung height ng ating water for our first arm, that is 0.7 meter. And then, yung density of our water times yung ating height ng ating water, which is HW2, plus yung density of our oil, which is 5,790 kilogram per cubic meter. Since meron tayong given dito na oil to water ratio, we can use that to have your HO is equals to 4HW2. If we multiply both of this side to HW2, we can get your HO is equals to 4HW2. So, substituting yung value natin of 4HW2 for your HO, for this one, we can have this multiplied to your density ng ating oil. So, simplifying your equation, we can have 700 kilogram per square meter is equals to 24. This is 1,000 kilogram per plus. So, i-simplify na natin. Pagsasamahin natin si, alin ang pagsasamahin natin? Both of these. Pagpa-plus na natin sila para mas mabilis. Hindi kasi magkakasya dito sa ating screen. So, that is 24,160 kilogram per m cube HW2. So, divide both sides to 24160 kilogram per cubic meter. So, cancel si kilogram, cancel si m squared. Matitirhan tayo ng isang m. So, ang answer natin is in meter. So, your HW2 is equals to ilan po? Yes.
0.02897 po.
So, this is 0.02897 meters. In this case, we can substitute na yung ating HW2 or yung height natin for your water on arm 2 to this equation. So, that is HO is equals to 4HW2. 4 times your HW2, 0.02. Anong answer? Yes po. Sa wala. Ayan, may sagot na si Solano. Wait lang. Anong answer niyo, Solano? Hindi ko nakita. Wait lang. That is 0.115892 meter. Ayan. So, may question tayo. Hanggang dito lang ang ating chapter 1. Next natin is our chapter 2. That is for next week. Anyone? May question? If wala po, nakuha to ha? Masanungin ko kayo sa sunod na meeting natin. Wala lang tanong? So, if wala lang tanong, thank you po for attending our class. Have a nice day po.
Po, ma'am.
Thank you po.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Bayan, thank you po, ma'am.